and cousins.
What up?
We are back, Black and Curious, with the reality recap. Y'all, let's talk about this weekend shows. But also, what are you drinking?
I'm embarrassed because my cup is very full, but please bear in mind that I did top this off with some soda. The Flybird margarita blend thing. Sorry, my nails are chipped. I just couldn't be bothered.
Baby, I need a full. So you okay? A fill. So you okay?
Yes. So I'm doing the passion fruit Flybird margarita mix. I meant margarita wine.
Huh. Please. Oh, well, no. I saw that you posted it on our stories. I'm going to have to go look for that.
They have it at Target. They don't have all the flavors at Target. This I got at Sprouts. So typically they have the strawberry and the regular at Target at least. And then I know sometimes they carry some of the other flavors, but they have a blood orange and this is a passion fruit, which is very good.
Oh, I will definitely check that out. I am having a little bougie alkaline water with some frozen strawberries because my grocery delivery has not gotten here yet, cousins.
Cool.
As soon as it arrives, I'll be having a beautiful Josh Cab Sav. So cannot wait.
That sounds lovely.
Yes. So now we can actually get into the mess.
Getting into the mess. Let's do it. Where shall we begin?
How about let's catch me up on Salt Lake City.
Can't do that.
Oh, no, not last night. Because I didn't watch last night, but we didn't talk about it last week.
I didn't watch last night.
What about Married at First Sight? Because we haven't talked about that in a while.
Yeah, we can talk about that, girl.
What's the tea, Can?
It's chaos. It is chaos. These men that they pick are garbage. Like the whole lot of them. Throw all the men away. Throw them away.
Oh,
terrible.
Dear. Oh no.
So I do still like, I know, the girls are kind of split, but I still like Zach, the black guy. But I just think my thing with him is he's just a perfectionist. And so when anything goes wrong or Michaela does anything that's kind of off, it's like, he's like, throw it away. And I'm like, and granted, she has done some wild things. Like she has done some wild stuff on this show. And had very outsized reactions for what was happening. And some of what he feels is warranted, but they can't seem to get on the same page of like, do we like each other? Don't we like each other? On the one hand, it's like, she's like, I feel things are progressing well. And he's kind of like, I don't know you like that. And then they meet up with somebody. And then it's like, well, how you feel, Zach? And he's like, well, things are going well. And Michaela's like, because you had just said, it's just, it's chaos.
It sounds like it. I don't know that I could ever be one of those like Married at First Sight people. I'm just not. I don't know that I'm prepared for that. I feel like I'm just too particular, and I also wonder too, like the people that join these casts, particularly for the ones where they like the one that they did on what was it, Netflix, where they never saw each other and then they got married.
Yeah, that was
wild. Like how do you, if you're someone who is just not really open to it, like why do you get on the cast? Because based on what you're saying, it sounds like the guy is just not like, I still don't really know you yet, and doesn't really seem like that statement kind of sounds like he's not open to getting to know her.
But that to me, as a fan of this show from season 1, this is a very black response. Particularly the black men. They always get up here like, yeah, but you're a stranger. And it's like, yeah, but that's what you signed up for.
Right. Like, that's the part that I don't understand. Like, okay, but this is what you decided to do. You knew this was going to happen. You knew this was the outcome. Like, what are you doing the thinking?
So bad. Then you have Ryan and Brett. They have fundamental, I ideological different beliefs.
Okay, girl, what does that mean?
Both white. They're both white. She's liberal. He's not. He's conservative. And you can tell he's very used to dating like blonde hair, blue eyes, all American, white girl with tennis racket. Like that's what he's
Girl,
used to.
don't do that.
And she is like not that, but she is dope as hell. To me, I like her. Her name is Brett. So Ryan's the guy.
Interesting name for a girl.
And so he is just like, the thing is, he's not even really playing in her face. He's just being insulting at this point. Like at some point, I really feel like if you are not liking somebody, it is incumbent upon you to be like, this is not working out. And I feel that I am doing more harm than I am good at this point. So I'm going to leave you be. And he is sort of still like, well, maybe it's going to grow on me. I don't really like her like that, but it's just
that don't never work out well. That's a grounds for like resentment.
It's like, it ain't going to never get there because you are whack and you are trying to make it seem like something wrong with her and it's not.
Yeah, that's not cool. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. There's two of those gaslighty fellas. The second one is Johnny, who thinks he's the 100 First Dates Vietnamese guy and he just thinks he is the shit. And Bao is smart, also Vietnamese. She's just very smart and like really trying. Like if he asks her to do something, she really tries to like respond and like perk up and do the thing that he asked. And he just keeps picking at her like, yeah, but you didn't do that. And yeah, but you didn't do this and you didn't do that. And she's kind of to the point where she's like, listen, I am a smart woman. I don't have time to be here folding your laundry. If that's what's required, then I don't know what to tell you. But like, I have a full, like she actually said it. I don't remember what her career is, but she was like, I have a whole real career and a full-time job. Like, I don't have time to be trying to cater to all of your whims. But instead of just saying like, I don't really like it's not working out for me, he's like, because they've met before in the past. They met in college. They were both like student body presidents at different schools, but for their Vietnamese association, they like mingled in the past. And the last episode, he was like, I could have dated you for 15 years and I never did. It's just, I'm not attracted to her. And I was just like,
the disrespect.
The disrespect for someone who has done nothing other than be nice to you and try to make this work.
He sounds like a mama's boy, though. Like, real hard.
I don't even think it's that. Like, he's just a jackass. And, like, he's just one of those guys this season of, like, I don't know how else to explain it other than to say, like, he really feels like he's the shit. Mm-hmm. And, like, he's doing her a favor when in actuality, she's the one that's the shit doing him a favor. And I find that a lot of guys that come on this show, they have that attitude. And it pisses me off because it's like, you're no better than the women coming on this show because you're here too. If you wanted to be married by now, why didn't you settle down with somebody previous to now? Like, you're in the same situation. You aren't doing anybody a favor by being here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is something that's like an undercurrent for a lot of these dating shows that we watch. So that side eye you just gave me when I said that.
It pisses me off. It pisses me off. Who else do we have? Jose and Rachel. They're gonna stay together. They shouldn't though. Jose is very, very controlling. That's the one that locked Rachel out of the apartment.
Oh God.
I told you about that, right?
I feel like we talked about this briefly on one of these episodes a couple of weeks ago, but I don't remember the details.
But I'll refresh your memory. Basically, he locked her out of they were in an argument and he deadbolted her out of the apartment. And she was knocking, they live in the same apartment building, and she's like knocking on all the other couples' doors. It's like 1 a.m. and she's knocking on all these different doors trying to get somebody to let her in so she has somewhere to sleep for the night. And then the next day he tried to play it off like it was an accident. Like he was trying to retell the story to the guys. Like, well, I accidentally, and they were all like, like they were looking at him basically like bullshit. You did not accidentally do that. Like if your objective is to secure your home, you're going to make sure your wife is back within
your house. Like what the hell are you talking about?
He locked her out at 1 a.m. And from all intents and purposes, it seems like she slept outside, like in her car or something. And I have a personal experience with that. Like nobody has locked me out, but like I stayed with a friend when I was like in town and she forgot that I was roaming. And so she like locked the deadbolt and I couldn't get in. And it's like a very unsafe feeling to be like, and I'm calling around to my friends, but it's like 2 a.m. because I had been out frolicking. And so like, it's just a very unsettling and unsafe feeling to be outside. And that was an accident. So being in a marriage with somebody who would do something like that to you is
they don't give a shit about you.
Outrageous to me.
Like they don't give a shit about you.
No, they don't. And he also, like the next day, was acting like I don't care. Like he was just frying his steak, like whatever. I ain't do nothing wrong. Very like I don't give a shit. And I was like, that is red flag. All like red flags everywhere for me.
Yeah, I'm not. Never am I ever gonna be comfortable in a position like I would be gone. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like in that environment, because it's like you don't give a shit about me, and you're showing me how less of a shit that you give by locking me out in this way, and it's intentional, like the guys were saying.
Mm-hmm. It was funny though because they like met for golf and they were looking at him like, no. They was like, like he's telling the story and they like, oh,
I smell bullshit.
It's a no. And then the last couple is Mirla and Gil. I don't think they're gonna work, but they're doing better than I thought they were going to. So Mirla's kind of like, he calls her like the princess, the bougie girl, and he's the firefighter guy. Mm-hmm. And so they're doing better than I thought they would, because at first Mirla was like, well, you know, I'm not going to kiss until I feel like it's right. And he was like, well, I'm not going to stay with you unless I get a kiss. And so she just kind of like randomly did it one time. And so he feels content, but he does give good advice. I don't know if he's good at taking his own advice.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of those walking around in the world.
He gives good advice. So my prediction right now is they will stay together, but they won't be together for the reunion. I think Johnny and Bao are going to stay together, but I'm not sure they're going to be together for the reunion. Although Pastor Cal did sit down and have a conversation with Johnny, like, listen, you are comparing her to this imaginary woman in your brain. And let me tell you, that woman does not exist. So knock it off. So we're going to see if he does any better. And then I think Jose and Rachel I think they're actually going to stay together for better or worse. The other two couples.
Wow. There's no way I'm staying with somebody that locked me out of the house. Like, that is some disrespectful shit. Baby, I am out of here.
It's like emotional safety plus physical safety.
Exactly.
And it's going to be.
You just brought up a whole thing. You just brought up a whole thing. And I feel like this could probably be a conversation like for Lucy later on. But like the emotional safety piece of it, like that is something that I have been thinking about in regards to, you know, dating with intention and having my previous experiences, never really having that emotional safety and security with any of the men that I have dated. And so like, it was always like an undercurrent of like, I'm always going to keep a distance and a wall because there's never been space created for me to feel safe with you. And like,
that may also
one of our favorite shows,
offline conversation in addition to a Lucy, but go ahead.
Okay, I'm with you. one of our favorite shows is coming back this Friday, which is Ready to Love. It's coming back this Friday for DC.
I love that show. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I watched like the pre-show. So we're just talk about this briefly, and we can slide into the next show. So I watched the little pre-show where they show like
I don't like pre-shows. I'm like, jump into the meat.
I mean, so I was just watching like the casting special.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like that, like I always watch them because it's funny to me. Like people say, and then they get on the show, it's totally different. But so one of the women that's on there, I don't remember what her name is, but she has this like short coif platinum colored hair. That's my thing. But she literally starts talking about like this emotional safety that she never had in any of her relationships. And so now the way she's dating is totally different because of that being like a number one priority. So,
absolutely.
Y'all, I can't wait for us to chat about that.
Have it written down. We're recording on Sunday, so you'll be getting a Lucy about emotional safety on Sunday. Okay, so that's Married at First Sight. Where do you want to go next? Love and Marriage Huntsville or...
Girl, let's talk about all the shit that is boring. SLC. It's Salt Lake City.
Oh, Salt Lake City.
It's giving me more right now. So I've not really been able to watch.
It gave me more last season, to be honest. And I think that they're giving the second season. And I think Jen Shah and her storyline is going to be carrying the whole entire season. Mary did crack me up because Jen is on like kind of an apology tour. And so she was having a conversation with Mary trying to like apologize, like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And
Mary is so goddamn weird. I'm just
such a weirdo. And Mary was like, oh, hey, how are you? You good? And Jen was like, yeah, we should get together. And Mary was like,
no, we shouldn't. She
just sat there and like shook her head like, no, I don't think we're there yet. She was like, we should get the husbands together. She was like, no, I don't think we're going to do that.
Oh my God.
That shit had me dying. I was flying laughing.
I did watch her briefly on Watch What Happens Live last night. And she looked like a stage clown. Like that suit she had on, you have to see that. It was the facial expressions and the answers to the questions that Andy was asking. And I was just like, she is just so strange.
She's so strange. It's never like a direct answer out of Mary. You be like trying to follow the logic and you be like, it's not getting there, Mary.
Like, girl, what? Where are you?
Take the direct route because it's not getting there this way.
Hello, that part. So, anywhoozle, I guess that wraps up SLC because it's boring.
I'm trying to think if anything else is going on, and I'm going to say the answer is no. Like,
I like the new girl. Jenny is hilarious. She's cute, and I love her family. Her kids are hysterical too. Yes, lots of personality.
I like her a lot.
So that's all we got. If y'all have commentary about that, please drop it in the comments. Love and Marriage Huntsville. It is.
Okay.
It's just a woo-saw.
I'm gonna let you start since I've done all the talking so far.
Martell Hope. Okay. we're not doing this in order. I'm just so, he be so close to being right. And then he like veers off in the most crazy of turns. And you just be like, but why? Like, you don't have to do all of this. If you want to be the first person that she calls in regards to watching the kids while she has her functions, then say that. Don't start the conversation with, you're having all these 10, 11 babysitters, raising my children, and I don't want that happening. Like, you automatically set Melanie on the defensive. And Melanie.
Wait a minute. Before we even go to Melody, 10, 11 babysitters is literally her mom and her brother.
I know. And like one friend or something like that. And like one
friend. But the friend even watched the kids
when they were married.
He said he watched the kids overnight, or she watched the kids overnight. But the other time she watched the kids is when Melody was doing her video shoot and Melody was there, she was just like off to the side
Corralling
watching the
children.
kids.
Hello? It's just ridiculous. But so we're not talking about her just yet. I just want to have this conversation about them at the table, like basically how the show ended.
Yeah.
Like that foolish. Martell was 100% right. We know each other's trigger points and how to push those buttons. And I think that we should, like try to steer clear of it basically. And she was like, do we? Bitch, are you for real?
Like, y'all been married for like 15 years. Relax. Or y'all were married. What were they married for? Like 10 years? 10-ish years?
Like 12 years, something like that.
Yeah, it's no way you could be married that long and not know somebody's triggers. Like, knock it off. Like, she gives me...
That's so obnoxious. I'm like, you just don't want him to be right about anything.
Correct. She gives me, I hate you, therefore you are wrong about everything. So,
I mean, the accuracy.
I don't disagree even with Martell when he was saying, like, could you just give me the first right if you can't deal with the kids? And like, I don't even see anything necessarily wrong with that. But like you said, it's because he led with the 10, 11 people watching my kids. It was like, that's not true. And if he had framed it, if he had framed it differently, see, I'm a person who I'm a words mean things type of person. And if you say the wrong thing the right way, you might be able to get me to agree with it. Okay.
That sounds so crazy, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, even if he was saying, he wanted to watch kids, if he had have led with, hey, I know you're busy, I know you're traveling, I know you're doing this, you're working, you're doing blah, 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 blah. If you need help with the kids, if you ever need help with the kids for a few hours or overnight, just give me a holler and I will be happy to chip in.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the exact same thing as what he said in a nicer way.
Hello? I'm like, you want an argument. When you come in like that, you want to fight just as much as she do. And it's like, come on. You be so exhausted because you can see it on his face and how he reacts. Like, what the hell are you thinking? You thought that you was going to come in and say this to this mother of 4 children that is your ex-wife and she wasn't going to like address what you exactly said? Because like words mean things like Kandron just said. I don't understand.
He still thinks he's running shit. That's the problem, is he still thinks that he has control over what Melody does and says. And I'm here to say that the answer is no.
That is false.
That is false. And
the court has found that to be untruthful.
In the case. The lie detector test has determined that is a lie. It's not true. It's just not true.
No, and she be like, she's dead determined to like show you how untrue it is at every turn. And it's just like, what is the point? The other thing that I did think was funny, he gave us like a little twinge of like a Marsau moment where he was like, yeah, I was happy to see you too. And he was like, damn, like, that was funny. But which is why I am still of the belief that it is giving a thin line between love and hate. Yeah, and that they're going to be finding themselves rolling around in the bed. I see it.
I totally agree.
Everybody's like on our IG saying no, they don't believe, but like, child,
no, maybe y'all never seen people who've been divorced, but
or broken up and still have anger and disdain, all that mad passion. It's a thing.
Yeah. Listen, one thing that really, really, really pissed me off with Martell this episode. When he went into that calendar to see who was watching his children on what day, when I tell you I was ready to jump through that damn screen.
I was like, baby, this is not what you talking about. You need facts. Like she said, this is not facts. This is you being petty. This is you pulling what Melanie pulls to drive you crazy, hit your triggers. Like, come on. Y'all are equally egregious and annoying.
I was just like, how dare you? First of all this court, like, file the order, whatever. I can't speak for what all judges will do, but most judges are not going to take custody away from their mother from the mother unless there's something completely wrong there. And it seems like they have 50-50 joint custody. They're not going to reduce it unless Melody is putting those children in harm's way, and she is not. You can say you don't like it, but that's none of your business. Also, maybe if you had an active builder's license, you could worry about building a freaking house. Sorry, I was about to go there. You could worry about building a house instead of being in Melody's business and trying to keep track of everything on the phone.
Exactly. I agree. Sorry, that face was because my stuff just got delivered. I could hear them at the door. Carry on. We got a couple of minutes, so it'll be all right. It's all in freezer bags.
Okay, cool. So anyways, that made me mad. What else?
And so like his thing is, thank you. Because he's still knocking. And I'm recording. I can't just hop up and go get it.
It's like, we heard you.
But yeah, like it's giving you want to be the primary or the custodial parent and get the child support. That's what it's giving. And I'm just like, come on, baby, don't do that.
It's giving child support to me.
Literally, that's what I got to. And I'm like, if that's the case you're trying to build, which is why he's pulling out the calendar and the dates and so on and so forth, like this is y'all are on TV. What judge in their right mind is going to award you sole custody when she's stating on camera that you're never? Jesus Christ, they still knocking. Hold on, y'all. All right.
Well, I will continue your whatever. But yeah, no judge in their right mind is going to grant Martell sole custody of children if they are not in harm's way. They're not going to take custody away from the mother unless the mother is doing something to harm them. It is in the best interest of the children to have both of their parents around as long as both of their parents are functioning. Also, why in the world would a judge give kids to a father who's barely working? At least Mel can say she has income coming in and she's working, but he isn't even he doesn't even have income. Like it don't even seem like he got a whole lot of income coming in. So that makes zero sense. He's fighting an uphill battle. He's going to lose. And frankly, I don't know that he has the money to pay an attorney to fight that battle for him. So he just needs to relax. He needs to relax and talk nice to Melody. Otherwise, they're just going to keep having a contentious relationship and he's still not going to have custody of his children. It's dumb. So, what else? I keep saying it. He needs his builder's license. And that's that on that. What else? I'm going to wait for Dehjai to come back to talk about Marsau. And the rest of this stuff too. I'm trying to think, was there anything else that happened with Melody and Martell? The preview looked good with their moms getting into it. Well, no, that was Melody's mom getting into it with Miss Wanda. I'm into that. The preview looked really good, actually.
All right. Can you hear me? I forgot to put this on mute while I was talking to the man. Sorry, y'all. But she's back.
All right, cool. I think we wrapped up Melody and Martell. I did my best.
I heard you talking about the preview that's coming, and I am excited to see that. And of course, this is what took so long, y'all. This is why I had to shut off the thing. The man was knocking because I had alcohol. Mm-hmm. I forgot you got to give your ID.
That's right, you got to give your ID.
Because he kept knocking. I'm like, thank you.
Go ahead on now.
Lord bless it. I'm sure y'all can hear all of that because I forgot to mute the mic. Okay, we still a new production. It's gonna be all right.
where do you want to go next? Marsau and Tisha, or Tiffany and Lewis, or
let's do the Tiffany and Lewis's throwaway. Let's do the Scotts because they had that sit down about Marsau's depression. Was that how the show ended, or was they Melanie and Martell?
Began? I think it began with no, it ended with Melody and Martell. I'm looking at my Twitter thread. It started off with the Scotts with the conversation about depression.
So the issue that I have is that I feel I
said I have many issues with what the hell he was saying, but go ahead.
The issue that I have with Mr. Marsau is like, but true to Marsau fashion, he's never right. Like, he always saying something that just don't make no sense as it relates to like emotional well-being. Most of the time he's talking about other people, but in this time he was talking about himself, and it's like, okay, I was so grateful that Kimmy was like, as a clinician, when you say something like that and you throw it out on the table, it is a duty of people, clinicians, to address it and to see that you're okay, right?
Absolutely.
I respect the fact that his brother was like, we grew up poor. So because we grew up poor, then why don't we go together? Because we had the same experience. We lived in the same household. I respect the fact that Tisha was honest and that this was news to her. She'd never even known about this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get all the positives out. Let me see what else we got.
No, you're right there.
And I even will say that I respect the fact that he put it on the table in the previous episode, but now to the cons, the negatives, I hate that he's so closed off about seeing about his well-being.
Absolutely.
Because I do understand that he thinks that his depression is due solely to him being on this particular project for a year and it's taking a toll on him. But I hate that he doesn't see the connection that you said, we grew up poor and we've been hustling hard all of our lives and this, that, and the third, and so on and so forth. And now you're doing this work because you don't want to be where you once were, right?
Absolutely.
But you don't see the correlation because you said it though. Like, that's the shit that's mind-boggling. You've made a connection, but you're not aware of the connection that you made. And I wonder too, like, as he is now watching this back, what he feels.
No, I think he knows he made the connection. I think he's smart. He's smart enough to know that he made a connection. What he is doing is kicking the can down the road, so to speak. And like, it's because of this one thing. And what he doesn't realize is like, that one thing translates across the board.
Mm-hmm.
So he's looking at it as though like, this is one job. This is one thing that's causing me stress. And once that thing is over, then I won't be stressed anymore and I can take a break. But it's not the thing that's causing him stress. It's the overworking. It's which we talked about in a previous, the thing about Marsau is I actually relate to Marsau quite a bit on this level.
Yeah, me too.
It's when you are a person who is accomplished.
Yeah.
I hesitate using, not in Marsau, but with myself.
Oh, child, don't do this.
When you're a person who has when you're a person whose value has been in hard work and achievement all your life, it is hard to know what to do with yourself once you start to burn out from that.
Mm-hmm.
And you will burn out. And I think he said there. Like he had been working like multiple jobs his whole life and all of this stuff. And it's like, it is a wake-up call, and it is startling sometimes to realize that that is not your whole entire value as a human.
Yeah.
And so it seems to me that he is in the intro stages of figuring out that his whole entire value is not tied up in his work.
Yeah.
I sincerely hope that he gets into some therapy to help him work through this. But listen, and I hope that nothing goes awry in the meantime, because plenty of us have been out here doing the same stuff. And some of us have had the luxury of going to therapy, and some of us have not. I delayed therapy for many years. Not because I didn't believe in it, but just because I didn't feel like doing the legwork of finding a therapist. So I relate to Marsau, and I understand what he's saying, but I just don't want him to get to the point of no return. And I wish they had even been more direct with him, of being like, this could cost you your life. Because right now he is feeling like, oh, it's a little time with my family. Oh, it's a little this, it's a little that. But when you start sliding down that slope, it goes from costing you a little time with your family to costing you your life. It can go rapidly.
Right.
And I feel like they were tiptoeing around that point, and I wish they had have come and just been a tad bit more direct.
I honestly feel like that Kimmy wanted to, right? Mm-hmm. Because when she hit the clinician thing, like, it's hard for people to receive the words and the knowledge of clinicians. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. As it relates to those that are related to you or your friend in your friend group, because they do what Marsau did. I ain't doing all of that. I don't need that. I'll get over it.
He even told his brother that he wasn't going to go to therapy with his own brother. That's when I was like, all right, he's just completely closed off to the idea. Because it's one thing for him to say no to Tisha. It's another thing because he feels like he's dominant in a relationship with Tisha. So what he says goes. But when he said no to Maurice, his older brother, I'm like, all right, he's just not going to do it.
Yeah, for real. Because my thing is like, Maurice, I feel like he said without saying, I understand this experience firsthand, because like, look at me, like, I'm the same.
Yeah. And Kimmy said as much, that being with a Scott man means dealing with this overworking, go. You're home by yourself. You're dealing with all this stuff by yourself while they're out working. And I think even if Marsau doesn't go with Maurice, it would be helpful for Maurice to be in there too.
Yeah. And he might, I would imagine that, because I think he's also a Virgo. So I would imagine that he's probably just going to go for the sake of like showing his brother, like being the big brother role, like showing him like, hey, I am doing this. Like, you brought up a really good point. And while I'm not necessarily at a place of burnout and depression, I'm going to prevent that. Because you pointed out something, you made me aware of something that's also in my history.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times people talk a lot about like first generation immigrants and stuff, but people don't talk enough about, there are still a lot of first generation Black Americans that are out here doing things in their family for the first time and trying to find their way in the world. And it is hard, and it is complicated, and it is messy. And, people have that story as immigrants, but I don't think that we talk about it enough within a Black American context.
I feel like we don't get the space to, right? The people, like, I can only speak from my experience, right? So like, my experience is that like, oh, you're so bougie, this and the third, so on and so forth. But it's like, I have a different experience. Like, yes, I grew up in this environment, and this is all that everybody in my family knows, right? And then here I am, fish out of water in, academia and in corporate circles now, and in having, like, if I talk about the friendships that I have or the people in my life, friends that do like serious professions that were like unimaginable within my family.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, even thinking of like, even trying to have this conversation, my body gets a little bit hot.
Yeah, mine is. Like, I'm starting to, like, I'm feeling away. And we had this conversation. We'll move on from it. We'll put it in it for now. But we did have this conversation, and we're going to have a larger conversation about like Black luxury and Black options, the opportunity to have options. We're going to have that conversation later at the end of the year. So I think, yeah, so let's move on. Before we both be in here in tears when we're supposed to be doing a reality recap. Going back to the clinician point, you know what really pissed me off in that conversation? Tisha, and how she was like, because Kimmy was like, you know, maybe you don't want to talk to your spouse. It could sometimes be about your spouse. And Tisha took that super personally of like, oh, you're saying I caused Marsau's depression? Girl, ain't nobody say that. Nobody.
Sometimes you add to it, sis. That when you always think shit is about you, it might really be about you because you always think it's about you, sis.
But it also could be, you know, part of his problem as he has presented it to us is that he feels a need to provide for his family. So talking to his wife about providing for his family and the pressure that causes him may not be the safest space for him. She pissed me off. You know, the people on this show, in general, they internalize a lot of things. And they really, really annoy me with that. Because, like, some stuff, I'm not saying she can't feel a way, but some stuff you have to just be like, I understand what you're saying, or I understand what you meant, or that wasn't really about me, or whatever the case may be. And the people on this show do not have that switch.
No.
None of them.
Not in the slightest.
Maybe Kimmy, but not the rest of them.
True. Yeah, we can't. Kimmy, we on team Kimmy.
Yeah, we're on team Kimmy, and Kimmy is not from here. I don't think
she's
Kimmy
not. I still want to know how she ended up there because Kimmy is from Baltimore.
Yes, Kimmy is from a city where she understands that things are bigger than you, and it feels very much like, I'm trying to be careful here, this mentality of like everything is about you. I know, right? It's like this mentality like everything is about you. And it's like when you live in a city where there's actual things going on, you realize really fast it's like a big fish in a small pond. Yeah, it's like the big fish in a small pond. They're used to being a big fish in a small pond where they feel like everything is about them. But when you live in a city, you realize you're such a small fish in this huge pond. And like literally nothing is about you. Like some things are about you, but very, very little. Like a lot of things are because of everything else that's going on around you. And you don't have control over that.
I agree.
So
I think that Tisha should continue to go to therapy on her own because she needs to get some self-awareness about herself. Because like in the previous episode where they were having a conversation about her and her insecurities, they exist.
Yeah.
You show them to the world every season on multiple levels. And I could see why she might be a stressor to Marsau because of the constant reassuring or constant. And I don't even think that he reassures her, which is the unfortunate piece.
Which is part of it's like a cause and effect because it's like, which one it's chicken and egg. Like, does she
which one came first?
Exactly. Like, why does she need reassuring? Well, then she, it's like back and forth of why she needs reassuring. And then she still needs the reassuring. And it's like, oh God, this is exhausting.
Very. But they're like two peas in a pod because she can't admit that there are things that she has insecurities about.
Yeah.
As he can't admit that he needs help and the help of an unbiased opinion.
Yeah.
To help him unpack the shit, the box that he has placed himself in.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm a firm believer that, like, there are cases where people have, chemical imbalances and, mental health disorders, understandably. But then there are also cases like Marsau's where you are now in a self-imposed enclosure.
Absolutely.
And in those moments, it's very frustrating to me as like someone on the outside looking in, like, hey, look, what I do for myself don't necessarily work for everybody, but to be closed off from the idea is just, I hate it.
Yeah.
I really hate it.
Same. And I think he would be all the better if he would just open himself up. And maybe, like I said, maybe it's a process, because it seems like this is the first time he's been able to connect the dots in that way. So it could be like, this is the entryway, and hopefully Maurice will go to therapy and he'll see that unfolding and positive improvements in his brother, and he may come around next year and decide that he wants to go. You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
Maybe, but like most of us don't. To be honest, most of us don't up and go to therapy the second we realize that something is wrong. Like most of us try.
Not me.
Huh?
Listen, not me. Child, when I went the first time, you know that, I thought I was like, something is wrong.
Yeah.
And I went immediately.
Well, that's good for you. But a lot of us try.
A lot of people are like that, yeah.
We try a few different things. We tried Jesus. We tried, herbs and spices. Some of us may try drugs. Some of us may try all kinds of things to try to make it right. And really, you just needed to take your ass to therapy. And so there's that.
Yeah.
So he's not unlike the rest of us, is what I'm saying. All right. So let's move quickly to Potomac. I don't feel like, do we have anything else to talk about on?
Child, I thought we had already talked about them people.
No, we haven't.
We're gonna be here for 45 minutes. So
I know. Love and Marriage Huntsville. I'm excited about the preview and the moms cussing each other out. That makes me excited.
Girl, Melody's mother was like, "Don't touch me."
Okay. I don't feel like there was a whole lot to talk about on Potomac anyways, other than I appreciated Karen and Gizelle. Their little chat tickled me.
Girl.
And then Candiachi and her carrying on.
Oh, girl. Candiachi can be last. That moment where, hold on, the first one was tossing salad, and Karen didn't know what that meant. And then when they got into the van and they was talking about how G was hitting Karen with the
gross.
She was all like,
stop doing it. Gross.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, G is like all the drunk uncles that when you go to the family function, or not even the family function, when you go to the function, they tell you stay away from Uncle G.
Yes, correct. Absolutely. But
then
they were talking about teabagging. That was the whole entire conversation. And it was nice to see Karen and Gizelle kind of like cackling and doing their little thing together. I really appreciated that.
Hello, because they are funny together. Like they are good, they are hysterical. That's a better duo than damn Robin and Gizelle.
I agree. They're so funny together. Speaking of Robin and Gizelle got on my nerves, like complaining about her accommodations at the house. Because I was like, ma'am, didn't nobody even know you was coming. You said you wasn't coming.
Hello, and then y'all showed up. Probably because Ashley was like, you have to come. Yeah. I can't be here by myself.
But you can't come in complaining about the accommodations. Your two options are to stay in the accommodations or take yourself down the road to the hotel.
And I think that's what they're gonna do. Because Robin said, I'm on my cycle, and baby, I don't have the patience. And she looked so disgusted this whole episode.
And plenty of other, I won't say plenty, but there have definitely been other franchises where housewives will be like, girl, I'm on my period and I'm going to the hotel. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But she wouldn't be the first person to use that excuse. Let's just say that.
Touche. I was very annoyed with Gizelle's antics as it relates to like her foot issues, and I'm not gonna come in this big grandstand in the Flossy Posse group text, and then you show up and now you bitching.
Because I would have answered the door. If I'm Wendy, I'm answering the door like, I thought you wasn't coming. I'm not even taking the shot upstairs and doing all of the fake hosting. I'm not doing none of that.
Girl, no, I was here for Wendy when she was just, I mean, yeah, Gizelle was like, so where is the bathroom? And Wendy was like, I don't know.
It's somewhere. Like,
and then here come Ashley to break the tension with the shots.
Girl.
And she took that shot and kept on stepping, was like, all right, then, y'all enjoy.
I feel like I would have been like, girl, I didn't think he was coming. I don't even know nothing about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you would like to stay here, which I don't know why you would, but if you would like to stay here, you can go up on the 3rd floor. That's probably not good for your foot. So maybe you should book something down the street.
Hello? Down the hall. I was very much surprised though that Wendy offered Ashley to pick her room first. Was it Ashley first? I think so. Because she got the big yellow room with the crib in it, right?
Yeah. I don't think she picked first. I think maybe
it was Karen and Ascala, and then Ashley.
I thought it was the chateau in the back crew. they got to pick the guest house in the backyard. They got to pick their room first, then Ashley, then the other girls got what was left over.
But yeah, like, okay, so there's not a whole lot of story there. No. Let's slide on into the drama of Dehjai and Mia.
Let me say this. Dehjai is absolutely exhausting.
She's vile.
She is, not only is she vile, she is just exhausting. Like, whenever I see, she's not even entertaining. My thing is, there's a fine line between, it's not even that fine, to be honest. There's a line between shady and just mean and nasty. Mm-hmm. And she finds a way to cross that line each and every time. Available time. It's like, in her confessionals, she knows the line, but when she has somebody in front of her, she is going clean off every time. And I don't find that entertaining.
There's no, like, the confessionals is restrained, right?
Right.
And her, like, in the moments when you're angry and you're going back and forth, there's no holds bar. And, like, I know that there have been other, like, influencers and YouTubers that have basically said that, like, when you're in a fight, like, you in a fight. And so anything goes. But I just
agree with that. Not in this context, because these are like women on a reality TV show. Like, it's nobody, I mean, she pushes people to want to throw hands, but nobody's really throwing hands like that. Like, it's all fun and games. It's all talking shit.
I mean, it's slightly fun and games.
I mean, slightly, but it's mostly talking shit on these reality shows like that. Like, it's not really getting into it. And for the most part, I feel like Candace is the one that pushes people to get into it.
Mm-hmm. I think that, like, maybe it was Gizelle in a confessional. I know Karen also said it, but I feel like they were basically saying that from this season to last, she didn't learn anything. And it's like, well, why the fuck would y'all expect for her to have learned anything when you were all grandstanding for her and saying that Monique was in the wrong? Only because you did not like Monique. Shout out to Monique Samuels if you ever watch us, girl.
I don't like her either, but that I still know right from wrong. Carry on.
I do like Monique.
I don't.
I mean, you know, Libra connection, you know, whatever.
No, she's the no for me. The only person I feel like Karen had the right to say something was Karen, because Karen really played it down the middle. She was like, you was wrong and you was wrong and you kind of was a little bit right and you was still wrong, talking to Dehjai, like, but I'm still your friend even though you was wrong. And I feel like that was the right answer.
Because it is the right answer.
It is the right answer. But Gizelle, I was like, girl, bye. She didn't learn anything because you didn't hold her accountable. None of y'all held her accountable. You, Robin, Wendy, none of y'all held her accountable. And that's why she didn't learn anything.
They all wanted to side with, really, I feel like they all wanted to side with Gizelle.
And that's fine. I mean,
like, it happened to Dehjai, but I feel like they wanted to side with the green-eyed, blonde-haired queen.
I just don't know why anybody wants to side with Gizelle. I mean, other than the fact that she's a good time, I don't know how she has.
I think that's really what it is. because I've had Gizelle in my life, right? And so like in that instance, it's like this bitch is fun, but she is so problematic.
So problematic. And like when I looked at
you
the
fun,
situation,
bitch. You a good time.
and when I looked at the situation, I'm Karen to the bullshit. Like we know I can stay dead center when two of my friends are not seeing it for each other. I'm like, girl, that's between y'all, and like I still like you and I still like her, so keep it cute with me.
I don't like. I'll be honest with you. I have a hard time. Not unless I already have a relationship with you. I have a hard time with somebody who rides the fence. And rides the fence in the sense of like, if you can't call a thing, I just can't.
My thing is,
makes me distrustful of you.
I can see that. My thing is, it could be, you know, my inner lawyer that comes up every now and again. And it's
all the time.
Usually it depends for me. Like I am a person who can see both sides. And I'm willing to give both people the benefit of the doubt. Now, if there's something that's out and out grimy, I'm like, all right, nah, we're not doing that. Like I can't.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a situation that's kind of like gray, I'm willing to let the gray ride. I'm willing to let it ride. And I'm like, I can still be cool with both of y'all if both of y'all allow it. Like, I don't have a problem with that. And I see where that can make me like disloyal or whatever, but I don't have a problem with it. And I don't talk back and forth, you know, about the other person to each other. It's just like, and as a grand scheme of things, and I've always been this way, and people can attest this from like high school, college on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that everybody is going to get along with each other.
100%.
And some people are just not going to mesh. And just because you don't mesh with that person doesn't mean I don't get to mesh with that person.
And that's something that I believe in, right? I totally understand that, you know what, everybody not going to mesh. And if I don't mesh with somebody and you do, cool. But I know myself well enough to know that I am just very like, I will put a distance between me and you.
And that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Because like, people always talking, regardless of like how you see it. People always got something to say. And so like, I don't doubt that they're not going to have something to say in your company. You know, like
fair. But I've been in a situation that you're familiar with. I've been in a situation where I was in the middle of two friends or two people who used to be friends. And I was like, I don't do that with you and I don't do that with her. So like,
see, that's what I like. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm straight down the middle. Now we can talk about anything else, but I don't do that no, we're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because that's still my friend. And you know what I'm saying? Like I can play it straight like that. And I know everybody can't, but
right. Because people are afraid to say that shit. That's the honest to goodness truth.
Right. And so in that situation, I understood Karen and I didn't have a problem with what she did because both of them was wrong.
Me either.
And Monique was a little bit righter than
Candy out there.
Yeah. In that situation.
I totally agree. I think that like, and this is a one-off, not necessarily reality recap stuff, but like I'm experiencing that now as it relates to familial relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And it is difficult.
It's not easy, but it can be done.
Because it's like, girl, miss me with all this, like, woe is me and upsetness about things that aren't going to be as they once were because of the standings of how things are.
Yeah.
Like, you are allowing things to be here.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, there are things that this is a choice that you've made. So, like, whenever you say something to me about it, it's a choice. You chose to sit in that house. That's not... Like, we don't have to talk about this. Let's move on.
Yeah. So, and then guess moving on, Kandron and Ashley getting into it, and I was just like, first of all, I know Chris is exhausted.
He said it.
And she is going to be divorced. I'm so sorry. She's going to be divorced. And I would give it 3 years tops because he is going to get tired of that. And she needs to grow up. You don't you have to say something, and you don't have to go
to address everything.
You don't. And you don't have to go to the gutter with everything. Some stuff you could just leave behind. Some stuff you could do a little light shade. Wendy shaded everybody. Wendy read Gizelle down, whether I liked the read or not, but she did read her down, and she didn't have to go, like, it was just a different tone. Like Candace every single time. And for her to talk about Ashley in some like slave master mentality, you're in an interracial relationship too.
Hey baby, what you talking about? And I'm almost certain that he's older than you as well. He may not be nearly as old as Michael, but he's older than you.
But I don't find her likable. I don't find her entertaining. I don't find her shade cute or funny. She is nasty and mean. And I would be fine if we just move on without her. I know that people like her, so I'm sure she'll be on for seasons to come. Every season needs a villain. She's the Kenya of this cast.
Yeah, but I can't imagine that because I remember, so watching that back, I was having a feeling of like, you know what? She didn't learn anything from last year.
No, she did not.
And now this woman has gone off of this show, but we're seeing that she has been the problem the whole time. So it makes me wonder as to whether or not they are also seeing that she has been the problem this whole time. Because if you provoke someone to the point of like, you know, blackout, like you're equally as bad as they are, in my opinion. Especially now that you're doing this with other cast members. And whether or not Mia was talking shit to everybody this whole season doesn't fucking matter, babe. Like you need to get a hold of yourself because you've already been in an altercation.
Yeah. And Mia was able to have those altercations with other people this season with Gizelle. And they were able to have that able to have that conversation or that shade or whatever without it turning into yelling and throwing salad and figurines and shit. They were able to have that conversation and have that shade without all of that. You are the problem. You throw the dishes. You throw the food. You grab people's collars. You are the problem.
You provoke situations that you end up in.
Yeah.
And like the thing that pissed me off too was also Kandron tried to say that Mia had gotten aggressive because she broke the dish. She was tapping that dish on the damn countertop and got to the point of like tapping it a little too hard and it broke. It wasn't that because she was doing like this, and it wasn't that she was trying to break the goddamn dish. That happened accidentally, in my opinion. If she hadn't picked it up, you know, it wouldn't happen. But like her tapping the shit, like you ended up throwing salad bowls and knocking over candlesticks and all this other shit because you were having a temper tantrum and got so like viscerally angry to the point of tears.
Yeah.
And then talking about like, you just got here, bitch. Like, what is going on? It would seem to me that she's still dealing with the residuals of last season.
Absolutely.
And now you want to take it out on somebody else.
I take special issue with the fact that she can take any moment. You can tell she grew up around white girls. She can take any moment and make herself the victim in anything that she does. It does not matter. Kandron will find a way to victimize herself. And I feel like this season, Gizelle is like, wait a minute, maybe not. Like you said, like they're seeing her for what she is. It was not Monique. It was not Ashley. It was not Mia. Because all of those people have had altercations in the past that did not turn violent or result in things being thrown.
Hell, what was it? Ashley and Monique had beef.
They did.
And never got to the point of like cussing each other out and carrying on, for real.
Ashley and Gizelle had beef. Monique and Gizelle had beef. And they shaded each other and they talked bad about each other. And that was that on that. They did not threaten each other. I mean, and listen, Monique did threaten to drag a couple people because she threatened to drag Robin too. But
she did.
She didn't make good on that. And it was an empty threat. And
I mean, I don't think it was empty. I think she really would have did the shit if given the opportunity, and she really felt strongly enough about it. Because she did it with Dehjai. I was trying to remember that child's name.
Maybe, yeah, but I feel like she, at the end of the day, Robin wasn't going to let it go that far. Robin was like, "Listen, I came from a dignified family. I don't fight." Like,
Robin is giving. I talk a whole lot of shit, but I am not of that ilk. Okay,
don't do that with you. God bless. But so yeah, I'm not saying that Monique is faultless or blameless or whatever. Yeah. But I find that Candace is absolutely the common denominator of things escalating. And honestly, I could see Candace going the way of Portia. Because remember, there was a couple seasons where Portia kept getting into fights. And you'd be like, girl, what is wrong with you? And they put her off that show. They put her off for like one season to recover herself.
Did she? I don't remember her ever being off the show.
Yes. Portia was off of Housewives of Atlanta. She might have been on there as like maybe a friend to the show, maybe, but she was off for
How did they put her off? They limited her amount of scenes like they did Nene.
Fine. They did not give her full peach holding check. Okay.
Yeah.
They put her off after she fought Kenya and she fought somebody in the alley, and it was.
But that wasn't on camera, so they ain't have to do her like that.
It was kind of on. It was lightweight on camera. It wasn't all the way on camera, like you couldn't see the whole scene, but they had some footage of it because it was after a filming event.
Yeah, her running down the alleyway.
Correct. So it's like, girl,
that's when you know you mad, when you run it after somebody.
Correct. So Portia was out here being wild and reckless, and the girls at Bravo was like, that's enough. And she had to wait a couple seasons before she got her peach back. And I could see Kandron going the same way. Like, we're not going to keep letting you escalate to physical altercations without any sort of consequences.
Or not even escalate, like you, because this has not resulted in a physical altercation, but it's definitely her provoking and poking the bear. And there needs to be some responsibility for that. Because there was
food flying to and fro, and glass, and brass, and those are things that if they ricochet and get you in the eye, you'll be blind, and that's a Bravo liability. And I'm sure they're not trying to have that. That's a liability. She is a liability.
I don't disagree. I think that she is absolutely a liability and a mess and a lot and vile. That should be her tagline.
She is completely vile. Anyways, I think that is all we have. We are over.
Yes, we've been sat here and talked to y'all for a whole hour. I hope y'all watch and enjoy. Please drop some comments down below and let us know what you are watching so we can get into that.
Tell us what you think about the shows that we covered. Love and Marriage Huntsville, Real Housewives of Potomac. Please tell me you are watching, what is that, Married at First Sight? I am obsessed with Married at First Sight. It is my favorite reality show. So if you drop down in the comments and tell me something about Married at First Sight, I'm going to comment back, okay? Dehjai might not comment, but I will.
Child, I don't know what's going on with Married at First Sight or SLC, but I'll talk to you in the comments.
SLC is boring. So drop down in the comments, tell us what you're watching, give us your commentary, and we will see you next week back here. Follow us everywhere, Black and Curious everywhere, and then Black and Curious on Twitter. We have a good time on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter.
Please, because I don't know nothing about the Twitter trees. She lets me know.
Dehjai doesn't do Twitter. Well, Dehjai doesn't do Twitter. I have a good time on Twitter.
So. Right. I'm all over the Instagram. Yes. And can be there too, but I'm usually the person talking to you in the commentary. So see you all next week.
Toodles.
All right. So of course I have to shrink us down so we can actually say bye. All right, y'all. Bye.
Bye.